Hi guys, Will Dalton here, Happiness Warrior. Today I wanted to talk to you about the subject of forgiveness, and namely how to forgive someone that doesn't really deserve our forgiveness. I'd like to start out with a quote that helps to crystallize the situation. They may not deserve forgiveness, but you deserve tranquility. What does that mean? Well, one of the biggest misperceptions in the act of forgiveness is that it's some gesture of kindness or some gesture of altruism or of generosity. Aren't I so righteous? Aren't I so kind because I am forgiving you? Truth is that we're the first beneficiaries of the act of forgiveness. We're not forgiving someone for their sake. We're actually forgiving that person for our own sake, for our own sanity, for our own tranquility. But the truth is, it's easier said than done. Let me give you a personal example. About 20 years ago, I used to live in New York City. I used to teach yoga. At the time, I had a beautiful girlfriend, and I was a little bit uncertain about the status of our relationship. I felt a little bit insecure in the relationship, so I sat her down to have one of those conversations. What is that conversation? Are you serious about this relationship? Are you committed to me in this relationship? This type of thing. Yes, I'm serious about it. I'm committed. I'm totally into it, etc., etc. About 2 weeks later, after having this conversation, I found out that on the grapevine that my girlfriend had slept with her ex-boyfriend. And I was upset about that. I confronted her. She said it was true. And I was resentful, and disappointment puts it too mildly. But I felt a lot of animosity and a lot of upset about this happening. Now, I lived off that resentment probably for about 2 or 3 years, if I'm perfectly honest. And the advice that I was getting from my well-meaning friends was, you have a right to be angry. You have a right to be disappointed. You have a right to be resentful. Now, listen to the insanity of that advice. Yes, we want to have a right to a table at Cipriani restaurant, or you want to reserve a right to get a seat on a flight to Dubai on Emirates, or you want to reserve a right to watch some tennis open and get a seat. But to reserve a right to be angry, this doesn't really make any sense. But I was following that advice much to my detriment for quite a few years. What's the way out of this? Well, the first way out of this is to recognize the suboptimal inner experience that hanging on to a grudge, hanging on to a resentment creates. And we've got to realize this stuff is not serving you, it's not serving me. And then we have to make the decision once we feel it, and once we recognize that it doesn't serve us, then we have to ask ourselves the question, is this something that I want to hang on to, or is this something that I would prefer to let go of? And quite frankly, there are points where, if we're honest with ourselves, we're not quite ready to let it go. And we just want to stew in it for a little bit longer. But there comes a time when we just saturate the experience and we become sick and tired of being sick and tired and resentful, and we say, enough already, time to let this stuff go. And as soon as you make that decision, you know what, I'm feeling this stuff, I want to let it go, then we're in the box seat to let it go. But there's an important point that's helpful to understand. We need to acknowledge that it's not really the other person's behavior that is causing us to feel the upset. It wasn't really my girlfriend at the time, going back to her ex-boyfriend, that is the issue here. The issue is that I inadvertently created an expectation in my mind of the way I thought she should behave. And when she didn't behave in accord with my expectation, I was disappointed, I was resentful, I was upset. So the first step to letting this stuff go is acknowledging that actually, wittingly or unwittingly, I was the one that created it. Now, it's impossible to let something go until you own it. If I don't own this mic, I can't let it go. I am not the rightful owner of it, so I can't let it go, sell it, or give it away. The first thing I need to do is I need to own this thing. I need to claim it. This is mine. And then once I own it, then I have the in the box seat to be able to relinquish that thing. So if you're examining any resentment or any animosity or any lack of forgiveness, grudges, these things in your life, if you can kind of own that somehow you inadvertently created the expectation in your mind, the person didn't live up to that expectation, and that is the root cause. If you can own it, then you can let it go. If you don't own it and you actually believe that it was the person over there that did that thing, like it was my girlfriend that slept with her ex-boyfriend and that was the thing that caused my upset, then it means that I need her to change for me to get better. And we know that the world yields very slowly to our agendas. The world doesn't conform to our individual agendas most of the time. So we don't want to sit around waiting for some behavior modification in another person so we can be liberated and free. I hope that was helpful. If it was, please leave a comment below, or if you'd like, you can leave a question and I'll be sure to answer and hopefully follow up with a further video. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is the Happiness Warrior, Habit 8, under the banner of forgiveness. Peace, love, over and out.